hostess for the evening. I'm getting closer to maybe having an intro to play as I get online. I'm learning this stuff. I think I'm going to have to learn how to do OBS Live though. Right now I'm using Twitch Studio Beta and it doesn't offer any editing features for video. So I'm trying to not have to get 50,000 different softwares to learn. So, welcome. I'm wearing my Tellico Plains Public Library t-shirt that we got in 2017 when we went up there for the eclipse. It was fun. I wish I had been able to get better pictures, however. My photography skills are like everything else on the back burner. So, anyway, what shall we talk about tonight? Let's find out who's here. So I'm looking on my viewers list. I've got Academy Impossible. Yay, you're back. So, welcome. And I'll close up the chat list. So, why don't we, it's Friday night, why don't we talk about handicaps and dating? Because that is a subject that's probably on a lot of young people's minds who are handicapped. Don't get depressed, because it's possible. Okay, it's possible. I'm gonna go to this one so we can go surf the internet. So let's find out about disabilities and dating, or dating first and disability. All right, dating with a disability. All right, this is mobility products. But, oh well. Dating advice for people with disabilities. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So this is from 2017. And the advice looks pretty good. Pick an accessible meetup place. Be honest about your disability in your profile. Don't focus on your disability because we are more than our disabilities. Disabled dating sites. Now, I'm kind of wary of dating websites, period. Oh, cool. So, Dr. Danielle Shapuk, Dating, Relationships, and Sexuality Among the Disabled. So, I want to look at that interview on PBS. She sounds like an interesting person to learn about this subject from. Okay. Well, media does not typically portray people with disabilities as romantically available. Amen to that. And that's why I write stories about disabled people. So, and I do have them fall in love, get married, have kids, So, I'm trying to do everything I can as a science fiction writer about it. Able bodied individuals don't understand what it's like to date someone with a disability and therefore sometimes avoid it. Yep. Advocacy must focus on two things: breaking society's stigma surrounding disability dating and building romantic confidence in people with disabilities. Yeah, people with disabilities should not be restricted to only dating other people with disabilities. Absolutely. Um, People with disabilities should be open to online dating and open about their disability. Um, Online dating, though, is such a hazard because there's so many fake people on there, right? So I'm keeping an open mind about that. Everyone experiences dating rejection with or without a disability. True, very true. And it's easy to blame rejection on disability. This is really cool. This is a good article, so I'm going to get this on my list. It's from 2017, but it's still fairly relevant. We'll need to, see, I'm gonna make a new one, and I'm gonna boink, and get this. I would take the dating sites with a grain of salt. I will try to check out some of these dating sites and tell you what I think in a future live stream. So, or we could go to some of them. Um, since it's a Friday night, first let's look up some other possibilities here. So let me go back. Cause okay, I did jump right in, didn't I? Okay. Well, here's something from the New York Times. We'll see how old this article is. 2016. I really want to find something that's post-COVID or during COVID. Let's see. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Wow, what a hmm. Let's see. This is from 2020. I'm not finding anything recent. I guess with COVID, it's kind of so maybe dating and disability is not a good topic because I'm not finding a lot. Oh, let's see. How about disability and relationships? Let's see what Easter Seals has to say. Easter Seals is good. They help children with disabilities. And let's see here. Oh, cool. Let's see how old this article is. This is November of 2020. Okay, so not too old, I guess. I can include this. Four-part series on long distance relationships during COVID. All right, let's see. Let me put this and this into the chat so you can see it. Okay. And let's see what else we can find. They also have the do's and don'ts of digitally finding love. Don't know how old this is. Hmm. See what this is. Okay. Cool. Right. So I'm not sure how old this article is, but I'm going to add it anyway. I can type. My hands just don't want to do it tonight. Alrighty. Let's broaden it out a little bit. Because before let's see. Well, maybe I should just say disability and making friends. All right. Okay, I'm getting a lot more about this. So I definitely don't want to just concentrate on older folks. I want to have stuff that's good for kids too. So let's put this up here. Okay. And then all right, so let's concentrate on more on the making friends part of this because you have to be friends before you get serious, right? So definitely making friends. So let's have a look. Overcoming the friendship challenge. You can role play with your parents, and parents can make plans to talk with children afterwards to discuss how things went. Parents should stay positive and teach children that making friends is a skill that anyone can learn with practice. Offering a friendly smile, starting a conversation, asking polite questions, and wrapping up. That's cool. All right. Here's one from Disability Horizons. Let's see what they offer. I'll accept the cookies. Okay. How to make new friends when you have a disability. This is kind of hard to read. They really need to, okay. What are you doing? You went under my pillow. I don't think that's going to work, Corrine. You went under the covers? Yeah, I'll hold that up. My cat wants under something. She wants shelter. So I'm going to let her go under my blanket if I can hold my legs up long enough until she decides she wants to go under there. Okay. Whew. Okay. Whew. All right. Joining existing groups. Okay. Okay, looks pretty good. Disability Horizons, that's from 2019. So this is how to make new friends when you have a disability. Boink, boink, and boink. All right, let's put that in there too. All right, so, and I don't see any questions or comments yet, so let's find some more. Let's see if I can find something that's formatted a little better than that. Okay, here's some thoughts from young adults with disabilities. Cool. All right. And to save time, I'm gonna just get the title from the article, which is what I should have done. I should have done that. This is cool. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see what this has. Oh, this is from the Memphis Center for Independent Living. Cool. So they asked 5 questions of 5 members of the Rockers and Rollers group. Places to get to know people your age and make friends: school, church, at the Center for Independent Living, recreation program, and the Mid-South Arts. So youth programs that help you make and find friends. Be friendly and honest, talk to them during socials and by telephone, introduce myself and talk to them about everyday things. Be friendly and be a good friend. As you've grown up, what challenges have you had? When in school, had a difficult time trying to balance doing my own work and helping others with theirs. And after a traumatic brain injury, One person lost all of their friends. That's awful. Get out in the community, join groups, get involved with things. And what things do you think schools, youth organizations, and families could do to support young people with disabilities to have healthy and satisfying social lives? Try to see that person's point of view. Be more supportive and try to put themselves in their shoes. Have different social events. Provide things out in the community. Of course, this was probably written before COVID, so I can't see a date on this. So let me look for more. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, this is the Institute on Community Integration. So, cool. So early intervention, educational policy and practice, community living and employment, and global disability rights and inclusion. Cool. This is really neat. So definitely they are a good resource. Alrighty, good resource. I'll make a note of that one. Okay. Yeah. Oh, IVF. Hi, how are you? Good to see you popping in. We are talking about making friends with disabilities. So let's go on and see what we can find on getting out in the community. Well, let's see what this is. This app helps people with special needs make friends. So let's see what it is. I figured there had to be something like this around, so let's see. And I'm gonna make a note of this link. And I'll put these in the chat. Okay, so let's go look at it. I don't need to cook. I can't stand up long enough to cook. Okay. And this is talking about a young man with autism, and autism definitely has quite a spectrum, so it's really hard for folks to get together and have relationships. Everybody is so different with autism. So the web app is a website that operates like an app. The focus is on chatting and ask user their name, age, location, and diagnosis. Eventually, it will match people based off diagnoses and works like a game. They sign in, create an avatar, and then find friends on an interactive map. The more a user chats with people, the more coins they earn, and then they can use them for like clothes for the avatar or audio and video chats. That's cool. The ultimate goal is to have people meeting up. Interesting. Cool. So when you log in, there's now a reminder about safety issues. If you meet, do it in public. Don't go alone. Chat within the app. Don't give out your number and that sort of thing. No personal information. Really neat. And she hopes the app will become a way for parents, siblings, and providers of those with special needs to connect, not just for the individuals themselves. She wants parents to be able to chat with one another, share tips, and exchange stories. This is wonderful. This is cool. So, what is the app and where is it? Making authentic friendships. Cool. This is neat. So it says it's not secure. Why is it not secure? Okay, as long as you don't put any personal information, you should be okay on this site. So I'm comfortable enough to share it. That is cool. That's neat. Okay. Extremely minimal sign up process. Okay. Let's go over to the Android side. Now it says 17 plus, so they're not recommending this for children. However, if you want to find connection with your child, for your child, then you can, and I'm not going to put in passwords while I'm here. Let's see. Let's see here. I'll get on it right now and I'll tell you what I think of it. So I'll go to the Play Store. Let's see. Where's the Play Store? Where's the Play Store? Alrighty. And let me search. Making authentic friendships. All right. Got 1,000 plus downloads. And it's got, let's see here. So it's a bit buggy. And you have to subscribe to be able to do anything. Okay. Yeah, it definitely needs to, okay. All right. I'm going to give it a try and see how it is. So I'll let you know. All right, I've got it coming. So let's see if the reviews are true. So I'm going to try it because I really want it to work. I think it's such a good concept. Okay, I'm going to use an email that I don't use a lot. Let me see. I need to be able to remember the password. Let me see. I'll try this one. Well, what do I want to do? Well, could use this one. All right. I need to sign up, so let's see. I don't have an account. Okay. So I will use Yeah. And let's see, what do I want to use? What do I want to use? Hmm. Okay, good. All right. Alrighty, and let's verify it. So I'll go to my Gmail and let me change the thing while I do that. So I'm gonna go back to the chat window and I will finish signing up here. So I need to go to my email account and verify my email. Okay, good. Alrighty. Okay, I need to resend it. Okay, let me verify it first and then sign in. All right, here we go. Well, the email works quickly. So now my email's been verified, so I can put my password in. Hmm. Why is this so hard? Let's see. Maybe I can remember it. Email form address is badly. It's not in there. That's why it's not in there. All right. I need it in there. Where's my. Okay. It told me my email was badly formatted. Well, the email was blank. So, my. Okay, sign in. All right, account type. General user. My first name. Gender. My birthday. I'll have to go back a ways to put my birthday in. Let's see if I can just type it. You have to select the date? You gotta be kidding me. I've got to go all the way back to 1958? Ooh. Yep, I was born September 22nd, 1958. That's a long way. Well, I'm in 95 now. 94. Oh, it's going to take a while. They don't expect old codgers like me to get on here for sure. Okay. Well, back through the decades. Journey to the past. Okay. And then in 1982, it was a very good year for older daughters. Let's see. 1977, good year for starting college at Georgia State University. 1974, good year to be a DJ. 1970, great year to go to 4-H summer camp, which I did. 69, great year for going to the moon. Let's see, 1966. 65, great year for moving to the mountains. 63, 62, 61, 60. November, October, September 1959, 1 year to go. September 1958, the 22nd. All right. Now, what's my zip code? Well, that's pretty public too. 3036. Ringgold, Georgia. Right. Continue. All right. Okay. Boink. Well, all right. It is a little buggy. I'm pushing the continue button and it's not doing anything. So here's what it looks like, but I'm not getting past the screen. Let me give it a minute. Well, so I would say if you're going to try this app, if you've got a lot of people in your zip code, then go for it. If you don't have a lot of people in your zip code, if there's only 2 or 3 houses, don't. Because somebody could figure out where you live very easily. But zip codes are usually pretty big in the United States. Most places I've lived have been, quite a few houses in each zip code. But there may be some areas of the country where there might be only 2 or 3 houses. You don't want to give your personal information if you're in a small zip code. I don't know, maybe some rural areas are very, very small. I've been in a lot of rural areas that weren't that small. Well, it is not doing it. So, let's see if there's anything else that I might have missed. I'm a general user. Well, it's a mystery. I can't get it to work. Well, oh, okay. I went back. I used the back button and came forward, and it did it. So, what's your diagnosis? Okay, let's see. I don't see mine on here, so I'm going to put other. Enter it. Okay. Borderline. Personality disorder. Is it difficult making friends? Sometimes. Okay. Continue. Probably should have capitalized it. Let's see if I can. I can go back. So I'm gonna be proper and yeah. Right, that's better. Continue. All right. I'll try the back button again. The go back button is not working either. There's my screen. I'm going to try this back button and open. Right. When's your birthday? Invalid date? They only want young folks on this app? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is terrible. They don't want 62-year-olds on here? That's sad. That's really sad. I'll try it again. Of course, I'm having to go back. Oh, I am losing my electricity here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where is it? There it is. Wire. It came out again. There. Now, let me check the chat while I'm doing this and make sure nobody has come in while I am fooling around with this app. Okay. Yeah. I'll just do that. Let me go back and put it back on that so you can see my screen. And that's where I'm at. And I'm going back through the years. Back to ancient times. Well, not quite, but sometimes it feels like ancient times. Back to the 50s when everybody could afford a house. I think Dad paid like $19,000 for his first house, brand new. I think he picked the floor plan and everything. Not that way anymore. And he was working at a gas station when he did that. So, it's like, wow. Prices are so high for houses, and the thing is, we don't need. Oh, who's here? Oh, Manu3. Hi, how are you? Thank you for the follow. Good to see you tonight. Do you have any questions um about disabilities in general, or I'm doing pretty good tonight. I'm a little tired. I had to go get my allergy shots today, but other than that, I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. So, tonight I'm talking about relationships, friendships, and dating among us disabled people. So, oh, you're in Oregon? Wow, I'm in Georgia. That's quite a 2,000-mile gap there. You're 57, I'm 62. So, hey, that's cool. Yeah, I'm exploring this app that helps people with special needs make friends, but it seems to be rejecting me because of my age. So I'm going to see if it will. I'm going to put it in one more time and see if it accepts it. If not, I'm going to assume that this app is for young people and not for people our ages. It's a shame because it's a good idea. I think they ought to include all ages, but I can see if they are mainly aiming it towards kids, why they wouldn't want older folk in there. But just in case, let me get back. I'm back to 1962, 61. This is taking forever. Whoa. Um, I might be open to dating. I mean, I really would like to find somebody someday, but just finding somebody to go out with has been so hard that I just, I do have that I'm single on my Facebook page for people who are good friends, but yeah, I opened it up on Facebook and I got all these people from Nigeria and Russia, and I was like, I know, especially since COVID, it's really hard to meet anybody. I'm in a church group and I keep hoping that maybe, somebody my age might come in the group, but it seems like it's just so hard, and a lot of people just don't wanna take the risk, of, getting involved, but I mean, I just wanna be friends first. I'm not gonna, like, ask them on the 3rd date, "Let's get married, can we?" No, I'm not gonna do that, so, um, you have to be friends first, and, I'd just like to have more ways to meet people, certainly, 'cause, it's, so hard. Everybody's so busy, and, everybody my age is busy with their grandkids, even if they're divorced or widowed or widowered, and, true. Yeah, we have a lovely senior center here, but I'm pretty homebound, so it's hard to get out. So that's my main problem is that, just going out of the house, I'm usually going to doctor's appointments. It's really hard to have the energy because I get so excited about going someplace that saps all my energy before I even get in the car and before my daughter even fools with the wheelchair, and it makes it difficult. I need to make the effort maybe. But the personal energy crisis is the main barrier to going to some of these places and being able to go have fun, because it's not much fun if you're falling asleep in the chair, So here I am. I've got my birth date in there. All right. So continue. And I'll pop it back and pop it forward. And continue. Pop it back and pop it forward. Oh, good. I made it to the other page. Oh, yeah. And plus, the main reason I started this channel is because every place on Twitch that I was looking for a group to get in with disabled people, either they want to use a bunch of bad language or, and I'm not into that. And I wanted to be part of a group that includes families, so I started my own. I really want any place I'm at online to be a safe place for parents to bring their children. And my cause is just raising awareness of disabilities. So I wasn't starting my channel necessarily just to meet new people and have somebody to date. I just want to get the word out what it's like to live with a disability, because the number is up to 1 in 4 Americans that have a disability. And, we need to see more accommodations everywhere. So it's my cause. I'm a cheerleader for disabilities. So, what are you up to tonight? All right, I want to select my interests. Oh, cool. Animals, reading, and into a lot of things. Art, video games. I think I'll put video games. Okay. And group interests. Oh, yeah, we have pets too. We have a silky terrier and 2 calico cats. They're torties, so they're both female. Well, thanks. Have a good night, and hug your husband. Take care, and hope to see you again. Good night. Well, cool. Love it when folks pop in. So, all right, now there's all sorts of interests on this app. So I'm going to, ooh, aquarium or zoo. I love that. Library, museum. Okay, cool. All right, and continue. All right, and this is the screen I'm on now. So this is neat. And it did take my birth date, so it's for all ages. So continue. Let me pop it back. Okay, what's important to have in common with a new friend? Alrighty. More interest than anything else. And in my area. Okay. Well, maybe not. I don't care. Maybe interests. Okay. Alrighty. But it'd be nice to find somebody in my area. Well, why not? Okay. All right. What would you like to use? Let's see. Create an avatar. All right. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Okay, hair color. It's fine. Accessory. I could put glasses on, but I don't use glasses. Let's see. Facial hair? Nope. Clothing. Got a pizza on her shirt. I like pizza. Clothing color. I like the pink. Okay. Graphic. That's fine. Eyes. Okay, I'll leave those alone. Eyebrows. Fine. Yeah, apparently you have to have coins to have a lot of choices on this, but that's all right. Now, I'll leave that alone. Skin color. I'm white. Yep. Okay. All right, I created an avatar. Okay. Continue. Okay, terms of use. Okay. And I'm not going to do anything illegal or immoral. And I'm agreeing that my information, including information submitted from my Facebook, is accurate. Okay. I'm not going to stalk. I'm not going to be hateful. And all right. And virtual items does not constitute a real world balance. Of course not. All right. All charges for virtual items are non-refundable. That's reasonable. I don't ask merge dragons to give me back money that I've done anything with. Okay. And its content terminates upon your death. Well, I would expect that. I accept. Okay, let's make some friends. All right. Yeah, while using the app, you can access my location. Oh, let's see what it does. This sounds interesting. Okay. And I did put in my location. I want to see if I've got any friends nearby who are using this app. Probably not going to find any, but you never know. Okay, it's taking its time. It went back to the store. Why? I don't want you to go back to the store. Go back. Go back. All right. Let me go. over here, I've got a lot of windows open. Goodness, no wonder it's slow. All right, I closed all my windows on my phone. So I should be able to go back into the app and let's see if it's going to work. Math. All right. Okay. And it's back where I was. Good. Thought it was going to make me log in again. And let's see how this works. Went back to my home screen. That's sad. I guess I overworked its little CPU. Okay, it's still working. So it keeps cutting off, but if I go back into it, it's not making me log back in again. That could be a good thing, or that could be a very bad thing. That's usually not a good sign. It does need some work, definitely, because just having it look up to see if there's anybody near me with my same interests is just, it's working its little heart out here. It shouldn't take that long, and I'm back to the screen again. Okay, here we go. Okay. Well, it was still running, so that's why it didn't make me log in again. It was still running, but it just lost the focus on the screen there. So definitely the developers have their hands full to try to make it work. Oh, and there it goes again. Let's see. All right, still up there. So, all right. And it's working away again. The little dots are doing their thing. So let's see what we can find out here. Ah, and there it goes. Goodness. And it's still working. Still working. Might as well put it up there, and I think I will go back to this screen and then you can see it bigger. Yeah. So let me get it so you can see it and you'll know what I'm doing. All right. So this is what it looks like. Subscriptions. Okay. And it went back to my home screen. Let me get it back up here. Okay. And it's doing this number again. So let's let it just work a little bit. Ooh, all right. Okay. And the subscription thing is popping up. The first 2 weeks are free. Okay, so I'm just trying it out anyway. If it doesn't find me any users near me, I probably wouldn't subscribe to it, 'cause, the ultimate thing would be to find a buddy to go hang out with. Um, we'll see. We'll see. And there it goes again. It keeps losing focus and going back to my home screen, which is disturbing. I would not want to subscribe to this because it just isn't very functional. We're trying. And it'd be nice to see what that subscription page says. Um, hmm. Well, I hope she didn't try to write it herself, because it, I've thought about writing an app, but I really don't have the expertise for that. And maybe she's got more expertise than I do if she's trying to write it herself, but it's writing apps is hard. That's why programmers do it. So I don't know. I am not so sure that, you know, because it just is staying on the search screen forever, like that. And it's really not coming up with any people near me. So it's a great idea, it's a great concept, but I think they need more expertise. They need to do some fundraising so they can get a real programmer. Because, wow, it's very hard to keep this little app going. And it goes to there it goes again. And as you can see, it is really hanging a lot. So, yeah, I think I'm about to give up on it. This is more time than I wanted to spend. Oh, goodness. So, anyway, I just wanted to sign up to see what it was like. But I was worried about all those bad reviews, and it looks like they're true, folks. So we need to go in and contribute to this app so that maybe they can get a real programmer to try to improve it. Because they're not going to get many subscriptions if it works so poorly. I feel sorry for them, really, because it's a great concept. I like what they're trying to do, but the app is not really usable. So, and I have a pretty fast internet connection, so somebody with a slower one would have more trouble. They were on L or something. If it wasn't fiber, it would be just like pulling teeth, just waiting for it to come up with something. And if they expect kids to use this, kids are not that patient. Ah, so I'm looking. I'm trying to hang in there for it just as the experiment to just see if it finds anybody near me. But it's just running and running, and it doesn't seem to be finding anything. So, Wonder if I could do this from their website. That might be easier because I don't have any more patience. I'm sorry, but no, I'm gonna uninstall it. This is not a usable app. Oh, I'm sad because I like it. I like the design of it and all, but it's just not working. So I'm gonna uninstall it. Yep, I do. I want to uninstall it. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see if just the base part of this app works. Okay. We've gone mobile. Now you can find their app in the Apple App Store and Google Play, but it's not a very good app on Android. I can't speak for Apple, but unfortunately, the website will be down until we can add all the new features we've jam-packed into the mobile apps. But if the mobile apps don't work, you should have the website up. Oh my goodness. Oh. Says developed by Sison Consulting LLC. Maybe they got ripped off by the company that was supposed to produce the app. But goodness, that's not really good. Okay. If it worked, it would be so nice, but oh my goodness. Well, it's a shame. It would be good if it worked, but it is not seeming to work very well. Let's look at safety. Well, that looks like they've got some good ideas for keeping it safe, but I'm not convinced. So that's another thing. If, you know, if some zip codes only have 2 or 3 homes, then that would be a problem. So they really need somebody who knows how to make the app work. Okay, well, I'm gonna put that down and I'm going to add a note on here. Okay, logins. Read and never finish looking for a friend. Okay, so let's see. So let's look up. When you have a disability. Okay. Yeah, here's a possibility. Now I checked out Meetup a while back and socializing for the disabled. Let's see. Well, there are some groups near me. Let's see. Let's look here. Oh, why not? All right, let's see what we come up with. It's taking a while. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna get a drink while I wait. Maybe the Friday night meltdown. I'm not getting anything here. Well, wow. Did I bring down their server? I hope not. There's nothing. Oh, that's sad. Let's try it again. Okay. Alrighty. That's Atlanta, but well, Zoom meetings, that's pretty good. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Let's look for 30736 and see what we come up with. Let them see my location. Got me in Graysville. That's okay. All right. No event groups. Let's see results for groups. No group results. Let's look. Um, um, mm, let's see. Disabilities near Chattanooga, Tennessee, USA. No group results? Oh, well, none? Really? Aw, let's see if there's events. There's events. Okay. Young adults. Video Gamers Club. Okay, well, hmm. Austin, Texas. Wow. Oh well, not a lot near me. Of course, it wouldn't have to be near me, but anyway, yeah. All right. Well, I'll put this here anyway. If I can. Let's see. All right. I'll add that. Let me edit this and take the dashes out and da-da. Righty. Hello. Oh, Nizay, hi. I was trying out an app for disabled people to meet people, which sounded like a great idea. And, parents could get on it and find other parents of disabled children, and kids, teenagers could get on it, but I couldn't get it to work. So the link to it is there. But I wasn't able to find it, so I went up to Meetup, and I couldn't find anything there either. So I was hoping I'd be able to find something that I could tell folks, hey, this app will help you find some friends who might have a disability. But so we're probably stuck with the traditional ways to find and meet friends online. But I I was talking about relationships and disability, and let's see. Do you have any questions about disabilities or living with disabilities? Well, Nizay, I'm talking to you right now, but I'm also talking to everybody else that's on. Right now, I have Academy Impossible and IVF. So we're what I typically do when I don't have anybody with questions is I will go to the internet and look up a topic and talk about it. And okay, do you have any comments or is there a topic you would rather discuss? Because I'm open to change. Nothing is written in stone here at Granny's house. Welcome and yes, I am in Georgia. I'm in Ringgold, Georgia. It's a little town in northwest Georgia near the Chattanooga border. So Chattanooga, Tennessee is where we do most of our shopping and going to the doctor. I have a lot of them. I have, oh, quit that. I have fibromyalgia and peripheral neuropathy that they have no idea where it came from. I don't have diabetes, which is usually where people get that. I also, so I use a wheelchair or a walker when I'm going out. And also, I have borderline personality disorder, so I have a mental illness. I have attention deficit disorder and a couple other things going on, but that's the main ones. So I see it from both sides. I see it from the physically disabled side, and I see it from the mentally disabled side. So what I created this, oh yeah, I've got my adult daughter living with me, and she takes care of me, and I've been in therapy a lot over my 62 years, and I've learned a lot of great coping techniques. So I um I feel like I'm pretty stable and you know, um yeah, I mean, my daughter does everything for me that I need and I just try to keep my mind active and I write science fiction for young people and just generally have no trouble keeping my mind occupied. So I'm on the computer a lot most of the day, and pretty much in my four walls here, except if I go to the doctor or if we take a walk, which means my daughter has to push me. So it's 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 a disabled life, but it's a good life. So how about you? Have you got a disability or do you know somebody who has one or just interested in the subject? And a little more about me. I've done all sorts of interesting stuff in my life. I was a DJ at 16 and really enjoyed it. But when we moved to Atlanta from the rural area we lived in, I couldn't find a job in it. But now I'm getting that side of me out of my system with my live stream. And let's see, what else can I say? I've been doing this live stream for 3 months to try to raise disability awareness. So I'm always looking for new topics to discuss. There's lots. And basically, if anybody wants to suggest a topic for me, I'll be more than willing to take it up and do some research on it and talk about it on the live stream. And here at home, I have a dog and two cats and love them very much. And I've trained my cats, I've trained one of them to do a high five. It's hard to get them to do it on camera, though. Right now, they're in other parts of the house. Oh, there's a lump under the covers. I have a cat under the covers here. But she's sleeping. She doesn't wanna do a high five. And, when I first started doing my live stream, I thought I would do a disabled gamer stream, but I find that I have more conversation over here on the talk side. Oh, that's okay. I don't expect people to sit here and listen to every word. Oh, bless your heart. What do you do, if you don't mind saying? Wow. Yeah, I haven't worked at night much. Oh, wow. Interesting. Well, that sounds like a very interesting and perhaps stressful job. Um, I know that when people work for the 911 here in the US, oh, I know that it can be kind of stressful for them depending on what the emergency is that they're trying to get them help for. But yeah, it's pretty quiet here. It's 9:30 in the evening here in Georgia. I see. I know that a lot of people who do emergency work, you can't get emotionally involved with every case because it would drive you crazy. My sister was a newspaper reporter, and she would cover fires and anything that was going on. And it might be the middle of the night, and she talked to a lot of firemen and policemen and ambulance drivers, and they had to kinda separate from that so that it didn't drive them crazy. I see. So is it pretty quiet at night, or is it just it varies according to the night? Well, that's good. Well, thank you for choosing to be with me tonight. That's cool. So, is there any particular topic you want me to talk about or just whatever? I like talking to people too. I really like it when folks come on the stream and then it's not just me talking out into the ether. I like the interaction. Oh, bless her heart. It's so hard. It um I didn't have any medical care for a number of years while I was trying to get Social Security disability here, and it was very, very rough. I couldn't even afford to go to the doctor. So if I had something, it was like, well, I could go to the doctor, but how will I pay for it? Oh, well, bless your heart that you're supporting her. That's wonderful. But it would be nice if the government would give her some money so that she could live and go to the doctor. would make it easier on those she depends on for her support. It's the same boat a lot of people are in here that, one of the kids has to or all the kids have to kinda pitch in, and if you don't have a lot of kids I had a 9-year-old, so yeah, it was really sent me money if I had asked her, but I hated to ask her for money because she wasn't making a lot back then. So it, it's nice that I have my own support. It's not enough sometimes, but we just budget. We just don't get luxuries very much, and, um, tonight we got pizza, so we're celebrating. "We got pizza!" 'Cause a lot of times we can't and pay the bills, so we're just trying to make the budget work. So how are things in Poland? Is it, what part of Poland are you in? Is the temperature hot or not so hot? Mm, when they're abusive. Wow. I used to live in Atlanta, Georgia, which is the capital of my state, but I'm in a small town now, but it's very hot. We don't have air conditioning in our van, so it was really hard on me to go out and get my allergy shots today. But it's nice to have something to drive because for years I didn't have a vehicle at all. No problem. So I'll kinda keep it down. So, let's see, what else can I find? Why not? Let's look up relationships when you are disabled. I'm looking to see about relationships. And I'm not really looking for intimacy so much as I'm looking about just human relationships. Let's see. Let's see if that gets it. Let's talk about communication. Stick that over here in my notepad file. and communication and disability. There we go. Get back over here. Oh, bless his heart. I should definitely. With with fibromyalgia, I have a lot of pain. I wouldn't say I'm in agony every day, but I used to be. It's a lot better now than it used to be, but yeah, I'll look for him. That would be a good thing to do. It's good to reach out. I'm looking at this article. Um, well, I've really been in constant pain since I was a kid. Nobody knew it, so all my family was like, "Oh, it's just growing pains. You'll grow out of it." Well, I didn't. But, um, really, I think it makes you a little more empathetic towards other people with pain because since you're in pain all the time and everything you do, it just tires you out, whether or not you're taking anything for it. And I don't know, I think I thought about more, if someone was grouchy, I'd figured, well, maybe they had some things going on that I didn't know about. So it maybe helped my understanding of other people a little more, just to be aware of that, I thought a lot of things were normal that weren't. Um, Particularly, we disabled people tend to hide our disabilities. So when you go to the doctor, that works against you because all of a sudden you're supposed to be revealing what hurts and what's wrong, and it can be very difficult to let the walls down and say, "Well, yeah, it's a 7 out of 10 today." Whereas if someone asks you how you are, you say, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm doing all right. I'm hurting a lot, but that's okay. I'm fine." So, it's just that protection mechanism. Don't do that. Windows. So, I have a lot of pain, but I find that distraction works better than medicine for me. Well, the thing is, a lot of people are doing the best with what they can. A lot of people are abused and they turn that anger outwards and they tend to attack first because they're afraid of being hurt. So some people become more aware of other people's feelings, and some people tend to be the other way. But it's, I think here in the US, I would like to see a lot more counseling available, like in school. The problem is when you suppress it all, it builds up. And then all of a sudden it's over your head and the dam breaks and you're, "Ah," you know. But it's good to let it out a little bit at a time. I taught my daughter, when you feel irritated, go grrr. It's not a bad word. It's not something that's going to insult somebody. It's just expressing your annoyance. Grrr. So we do that. But it's hard because if you hold it all in, then you get headaches, you get stomach aches. I nearly had ulcers twice when I was in fourth grade and again in eighth grade when I was in junior high. Um, the physical, that's a good way to let it out. I would go for 5-mile walks. I'd come back limping and my pain would be through the roof, but at least I'd get the anger out. So, yeah, I did a lot of that too when I was able, but it up to a certain point. But when you're not able to go for those 5-mile walks anymore, then you got to do something with it. Oh, it can get to take COVID vaccinations, and the hospitals are filling up, and everybody with heart attacks and all is going to have a hard time finding a hospital bed. And I get angry sometimes that why aren't these people taking COVID vaccines? But I can't change other people. I can change me. I can change how I react to things by thinking about things a little differently, maybe. But everybody has their trials and they're doing the best they can. And sometimes it doesn't look like they're doing anything about it at all. And it can be very frustrating. But I just think about, we're all here for a reason. Ooh. Oh, that's awful. Yeah, things like that happen here too, and it's so sad. In every big city, there's people that do things out of the blue. And well, it's not just cities, it's rural areas too, but it people, if it happens in a city, people are like their antennas are up. Oh, that's why cities are bad. Things happen in the country too. So it's just the misperception that everything bad happens in the city. But I don't understand why anybody would do that, especially for a pair of earrings. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. I could see if it was food or something that was a human need. Um, Although, then you'd wonder why they didn't just go to a church that was handing out food or, you know, instead of attacking some innocent person. It's hard to understand why people do violent things when, most of us go around, we're not doing anything violent. We just hope that violence doesn't come to us. I understand because, you very stressed sister. Right. I understood it that way. Yeah, because so much violence in the world, and you get more of that when you're working on an emergency line. Then you hear all these things that us people who don't hear about. So it probably seems to you like there's all these maniacs out there waiting to attack people, and it's not it's not that way all the time. It's just that if you're in a position, yeah, 12 hours straight, it must get to you bad. I'm sorry. Bless your heart. Yeah, that would be very, very difficult. And I know policemen get tired and people on the front lines like you um, get so tired of each other, doctors and the But the thing to remember is that you're seeing the worst of it because of your job and where you are. And it's not like that for most people. I do love life. You know, a lot of people would say, well, goodness, your life is so limited. You're in pain all the time. Go for a walk. Well, I can hear the birds sing outside. I can see the sunlight when I go outside, and I enjoy the cloud formations and taking pictures on my phone, doing my live stream every night except Sunday, and I love doing artwork and writing books. Well, I think your English skills are great. I haven't seen you make any errors yet, so you've done a very good job of your self-learning. Very good. But there are always things to live for. There are always things to look forward to if you look for the good stuff. Every morning when I get up, I find something pretty to look at. If it's my kitty's face, as if it's my daughter's face. Yeah, I write young adult science fiction. I publish it on Kindle, Amazon Kindle. Oh, you should. What I would suggest to you is you sit down and write for 15 minutes a day. That's not a big chunk, and it doesn't matter if it's sheer garbage. Just write something. Just think about, I start with dialogue. I start with somebody saying something, and I build a story around it. And it doesn't have to be something that somebody actually said. Most of it is made up, but it comes from my experience or things I've overheard people say to do on a little different angle. Yeah, because writing is a wonderful way to get your feelings out. When I was young and had so many frustrations, I would sit down and write a story. And I used to really when I would think about writing down a story, I would daydream about what if something terrible happened to me and what I would say and what people would say. And I found that was really unhealthy for me. So I started making up stories about people I didn't know and with problems that weren't exactly what mine were. And it was really therapeutic for me. It really helped me work out a lot of my feelings. So definitely, even if you don't get published, it's a wonderful way to get your feelings out. But if you're good with the grammar and you have put together a good story, then if you enjoy reading it, maybe other people would enjoy reading it. And it's very easy to get started on Amazon with the Kindle books because they're ebooks. So you you can do them in print also. I tend to do the print at the same time on my bigger works. My short stories and stuff I don't print. But, I could collect them into a short story collection, and I'm planning to do that. Since I'm disabled, my timetable is very extended. It takes me forever to get a book ready, but there are all sorts of videos on it's not the regular Amazon.com, it is Kindle Direct Publishing. So if you look up Kindle Direct Publishing, then you can find where it is in your language. And I think they have Poland. I know they have Japan, England, United States, Mexico. Oh, yeah, because I love to get new writers started. If you have any questions about writing, I would be very happy to answer. But the Kindle Direct Publishing, they have all sorts of things to help a new writer get started. Cool. Yeah, I mean, if you do you read a lot? 'cause you can learn a lot as you, yeah, absolutely. 'Cause, if you read fiction, whatever kind of fiction you wanna write, I love science, so I like science fiction, so the science kinda takes the forefront of the story. Um, ah, well, it's best to write what you're most familiar with. So, 2 things. First of all, whatever you like to read, whether it's science fiction, horror, um, vampire stories, or detective stories, or mysteries, or romance, or whatever your favorite genre is, that's where you should start writing your stories. And you don't have to write a whole book. Medical fiction is very good, definitely, and you've got the work experience to feed your stories. So, definitely, if you write about something medical, make sure your facts are straight, use good sources, because even in fiction, it has to be plausible, right? Um, and the other thing, the other aspect of it is when you write about feelings. Ooh, wow. So, yeah, you would have a lot of experience to help you write, medical fiction, definitely. And, it's better not to write about people you know, it's better not to mention relatives or anything like that because it can turn out to be a whole family thing that's bad. My characters are usually never me, and they're never anybody I can put a finger on, but I'll take traits from one person and traits from another person that I've known and put them together in a new person, so it's not recognizable as anybody that I know. And that way, you can do whatever you want there. One thing I like to do in my fiction is I'll write about somebody getting hurt or acquiring a disability or, um, something like that, but I follow them through. Okay, what I usually do when I come up with a character, a lot of times I come up with the name first, and I'll go into the meanings of names, so I'll look in a baby name book and pick what ethnicity I want them to be, and I'll look for names in that ethnicity, and start with the meaning that I want the name to have and have it tie in with their life story. And, what their eyes, are they old or young? What is their life situation? Do they have something wrong with them, or are they perfectly healthy? And then I think about personality traits, some of my characters have been very caring and warm people, compassionate people, and I've written about people that were rather materialistic and not really paying attention to people's feelings and all that. And the best stories are when your character goes through a big change and maybe they learn something that they didn't know before. I had one character that was very materialistic, and she turned out to discover her inner compassion for people, and she changed a lot. I've had people, you know, change religions or maintain the same religion, but always I have people learn and grow through what they go through. So I'll write down notes about the character because I tend to forget. Well, did she have blonde hair or did she have red hair or did she have brown hair? So I will make notes as I write, and I use LibreOffice, which is free, and it's like Word, but it's free. And I can put notes in the margin, I can put comments, and so in the comments, when I first introduce the character, I write up a little thing, okay, she's 22, she has blonde hair, blue eyes, she is thin, she has a limp, she is very dissatisfied with her job, she wants something different, and, so, stuff like that, and then as I develop the character, as I have something happen that's a milestone, then I will put that in the comments, and that way all through the work, and I never know what length it's gonna be when I start writing it. It might be a short story or it might be a mega novel. I just never know until I get it written down and start figuring out, "Okay, am I gonna cut someplace?" Or, you know, um I don't wanna make things too long. I know it's a little smaller than a regular novel, 250 pages. I try to keep it around 200 for a young adult novel. And, so there's lots of stuff. If you go to writersdigest.com, let me put this in there. I think this is the right one. Let me look it up online before I do this. Writer's Digest magazine. That's subscription, but, they have a lot of articles that aren't, um, you know, that aren't, pay. So, you can just look down this and you can see all sorts of, and you can get writing prompts for, little things to start you writing a story. Just all sorts of stuff for free in here to, get ideas and make yourself a better writer. So, for fiction, they've got all sorts of things on character dialogue and, um, all of this stuff, grammar, plot, revising and editing, and I use a lot of this in my writing. My mother and my sister always used Writer's Digest, and they were newspaper writers. So, I'll put this link here for you. So, there's some good things. Oh, bless your heart. So, I was talking about Writer's Digest as a great place for new writers to start, and they have articles on all sorts of topics, from character development to dialogue to grammar to everything. And they'll often have links to other sites too. So, Writer's Digest is a good place to start, and also just look for people who write what you're interested in writing and see if they have any tips. If somebody has made it with a publisher and they're known for their writing, usually they have good tips for new writers. So that's another way to learn more about it. And, if you have any questions, come on here and ask, 'cause, I'm mainly talking about disability, but I will also talk about writing anytime, 'cause I love it, and I love to see people get started. And if you've already been writing, keep on writing. Don't worry about how good your stuff is. I used to be a part of a writing group. It was Carbon Tipped Pens, and I put this story out there, and they were making fun of me, and I was going, "Oh my goodness," and it just hurt my feelings, something awful. Everybody says when you become a writer, you have to develop a thick skin and you have to be able to take criticism. Well, it's hard enough without being in a writer's group who's reading your stuff and they're criticizing every single thing about it. Some people get on those groups because they want to hurt people, because they've been heard about their writing, so they're going to make it just as tough for every new writer in there as they can. And I don't like that. I don't like bullying. I don't like, um, you know, so I pretty much I just write, and you can get some good clues in reading in your genre as far as how to format things, where to put quotes, where to put italics. Basically, if you're using a word that's in a foreign language or a made up language, then you want to italicize it the first time, and then the next time you mention it, don't use italics. I have a lot of italics in my writing because I have people with telepathy. So that's how I show that they are thinking it rather than saying it. I put it in italics. But you learn the little tricks by looking at print books and looking at how they're designed, because every manuscript has a design. So if you are wanting to put something in print, then you're going to want to look at that. Yeah, exactly. Mhm. Yeah. And I really believe it helps people if they've been through a trauma to read about a similar trauma and how somebody handled it. I've been in therapy a lot in my adult life, and I've learned a lot about healthy communication. So I try to put that in the recovery part in every story. So I will, not every story, but most of them. So I'll have somebody go through something, and maybe for a while they're bitter and angry, but I try to have them come to realize that, bad things happen to good people. And if you communicate with your loved ones in a way that's non threatening, then you can have a dialogue and you can talk about these things and work through them together. So I try to leave people better than they were when they started the story. So that's one of my little missions. I call it therapeutic science fiction because I try to bring in good communication and show how people can deal with what they've been dealt. Because so often somebody will write about a murder, or they'll write about somebody who's in a horrible accident, and they have this cookbook ending where everybody's sweetness and light. And as you know, when people go through a wreck or something, there's a recovery period, and a lot of that is psychological. So I try to take people through a traumatic thing, and I try to show how they get better. And I don't make it all better, because naturally, if somebody's back is screwed up in an accident, they're not going to ever be the same again. So I try to show how they deal with the trauma of the accident and how their physical therapy goes, you know, and it is hard. I don't try to show it as easy, because it's not. It's not ever easy for anybody who has to work their way back to normal function after an accident, and it's not ever perfect. So that's my take on writing, that it's better to, if you've got to write about something that's kind of dark and all that, to try to get the person through it and get them sort of cool. Therapy will teach you more about writing than anything else, I've found, because it really makes it a way to destigmatize therapy. I've written about some people with mental conditions not the same as mine, and seeing a therapist and what they do in therapy, and I kinda try to demystify that process. 'Cause a lot of people are scared, "Oh, the therapist is going to control my mind, they're going to see things that I can't see, and they're gonna use it against me somehow," and I've never had that experience in therapy. I've always felt like they were giving me tools in my little toolkit so that when I run into a similar stress, I can pull out my little tool and say, "Okay, I'm ready." Yeah. And a lot of articles you will read will say that you can't make a hero out of your bad guy, that they can't change that much. And I say balderdash. You know, I have a character in my book series, my main series, that was really evil and doing all these things, but he was kind of being controlled by this power he found, and he ended up, once he was freed of it, he went back to the way he was, and he had all this guilt, and people gathered around him and helped him work through the guilt, and he spent the rest of his life doing good to try to overcome some of the evil things he did while he wasn't quite himself. So, I think that it is possible. You have to be careful how you do it, though, because if it's poorly done, it's not going to work. But there, you never know if you're going to have a take on it that nobody else has had. And so it's good to learn about these stereotypes that people tend to write about when they're new. And with the caveat that your take on it might be something really new and really original, and it might be something that would work. But I'm a big believer in self-publishing because if you sell a book to a big company, it's like winning the lottery. It is so hard to do. I don't know how things are in Poland, but I know in the United States it is literally, even with somebody who sells book after book, it is like winning the lottery multiple times. It's so odd for somebody to be able to sell more than one book. But, a lot of genres have magazines where you can sell short stories, and you can even self-publish those. And, well, it does, but it doesn't take it all at once. I successfully wrote stories and mailed them off to publishers when I was working full-time. It can be done. It's just a matter of you can do it in 15 minutes a day, you really can. It's just a matter of, building your universe. If you've got a set of characters you're going to be writing a series about, then you definitely wanna pay attention to what you had happen when, how many kids they've got, and kids have to grow. So, you have to pay attention to that in your universe. If you're writing about a family that has children that, you're writing from when they're very small to when they're grown. It depends on what time frame you're looking at and whether you're gonna connect any books or stories or whether you're just going to make them all standalone. And if you're writing a series, you want every book to be standalone so that you can pick it up anywhere in the series and know what's going on and not have to have read books 1 through 4 before you pick up book 5 and be totally lost. You've got to make it self-contained so that, you know enough about the background to be able to continue with reading. So, mainly about research is it depends on the genre, how much research you'll be doing. My sister writes romance novels, and she still had to research a whole bunch because, if you have a plane that is going to fall out of the sky, well, airplane accidents in the US are very uncommon. So she had to talk to some pilots and find out, well, what kind of mechanical problem would make a plane have engine trouble, but you would have time to land it? And so one of them said, well, a dynamo. And so she had this book about a person that was in a small plane and had an accident. And she had to she made it very realistic, so she covered all the things the pilot would do in order to get the plane down. So, yeah, you want to you, you don't wanna put so many details that you bore your reader to tears, but you do need to know just enough so that the story sounds reasonable if a pilot happens to pick it up. You know, it will serve you later. So it's not that you have to research everything, and certainly the amount of detail you go into is up to you. But there's a fine balance between too little information and too much in a story. You don't want to put so much detail that you slow your story down, but yet you want to have enough information in there so the reader can clearly picture what's going on. And, I have taken Barbie dolls and had one carrying another and tried to figure out, well, where would the hands be and where would the legs be and all this when I'm describing a scene where one character is carrying another. Or you find a scene in the movie where they've done that. And, so your research can take you down all sorts of interesting paths. It's a really fun thing to do with your time. And you learn things that maybe you'll never use again. Oh yeah, I think that's one my daughter was watching. She's really into anime and we've watched a lot together. Oh yeah. And the thing is, we watch so many movies. Writing is totally different than watching a movie or writing a movie because um, a lot of things in movies, especially Hollywood, everybody talks about the US and Hollywood, they depict things that are totally unrealistic in movies. In books, you have to be a little more careful. And the writing industry and the movie writing industry are two different things. They very rarely come together. Usually a director will hire a writer to write his version of a story or something, or maybe he'll write it himself and he wants it acted and directed in a certain way. So it's a lot different than sitting down and writing a story or a book. But if you're interested in writing screenplays, Writer's Digest also has stuff about how to write a screenplay and how to send that off. I thought about it, but all the camera work directions and all that kind of lost me. But then I started so many years ago just writing for print, really. So it's a different kind of writing, but you know, it's something to think about if you think you might enjoy that better. But one of the things that science fiction writers get into is like, you write something that sounds like it could have been a Star Trek episode or a Star Wars movie, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that your ideas are original, that they're yours, that you're not copying from anybody, subconsciously or consciously. It's so important to be original. And my sister has said that some people only have one book for inside them. And once they've written that one book, that's the only idea they had. And that's okay, you know. But if you want to write and keep writing, the best thing to do is do that 15 minutes a day. And it doesn't have to be the same manuscript either. You can write a short story and you're still working on your novel. The only difference between a shorter story and a full-length novel is the amount of detail you go into. If you're writing a short story, it's like a story you would tell a friend. Well, there was this little girl and she rode down the street and this happened and that happened and then she came home. So you've got a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's only a couple of pages. And, you know, yeah, it's you talk about keeping everything tense. It is very difficult to maintain that level of excitement through a whole book because you you technically want to build up to a climax and then you want to come back down. And it's easy to talk about, very hard to do. Oh, no problem. I love to talk about writing. It's one of my hot buttons. You should. You should. And yeah. And if you want to write for people, think about what age group you want to write for. Because I really enjoy writing for younger people, even though I often write about people my age or middle aged. You know, I don't necessarily write about teenagers for teenagers because everybody does that. They think, oh, I've got to write about a teenager. I do have a book series about a teenager, by the way, but it's good to have different ages. But if you've got a novel in mind, if you've got an idea that you think you could make a whole book out of it, if you're sending off a manuscript, oftentimes a publisher wants to see the entire thing because they want to know that you can actually handle writing something that big. It's often easier to start out writing short stories, and then you gradually do longer and longer stories. I started out with a novel, and I had no trouble filling it up. I edited it to death. I started at 11, and of course, the plot changed almost daily, and I finally put it up when I was 18. I said, I can't do this because I can't decide where I'm going to stop and where I'm going to put it together and all this. And I turned 30 and I got it back out and everything fell into place. I don't know how or why. Maybe it was just experience, but my sister said that oftentimes you have to have enough life experience before you can write credibly. And for me, 30 was a good age to start. But that said, I think it's good to write at any age because you learn so much about how to put words together and how to write something that's interesting to you. It's got to please you first before it can please any reader. So if you can write things consistently that you like to read, then you have a chance at putting it out where other people can read it. So that's a thing too. Writing is a solitary activity. People talk about, oh, I'll be a famous writer and I'll go to parties and all this stuff, and that's not what the writing life is all about. It's very solitary, and people who don't write will not understand why you are at the machine writing for hours. um, there's a lot of talk about fan fiction and whether you should or shouldn't. I wrote a lot of fan fiction. My first writing was at 9 years old. I was writing Star Trek episodes, and it was fun. But I really think it's better to write about your own stories and your own characters. If you enjoy fan fiction, there's nothing wrong with that. But I really think it's better to start out original. And, I always had original stories from the time I was 11. So pretty much my fan fiction was 9 to 11, and then maybe spotty along there. Sometimes I would watch something on television and it just stuck in my head, and I would just write something about it to get it out of my system. But writing is one of those things that it's hard for one writer to tell another writer, well, you should do this, because we're all individuals. It really, um, there's the worry that if you write too much fan fiction, that you might start trying to write something original, and you've got the stuff that you've been writing in your head, and you will unconsciously plagiarize. So there is that. Um, okay. As far as getting advice from working writers, you probably won't. 'Cause they're too busy writing. They really aren't gonna want to answer because they get so many questions from new writers. But as far as experts, you can find experts at your local community college or university. You can find experts by writing to people who are studying stuff. Um, so finding experts, local experts are really good. Like if you are, I used to ask questions from people I worked with. I worked in libraries, so I didn't have an exciting job like you've got, but I would ask librarians, I want to find some information on this subject. How do I go about it? What sources would be good? And they'd point me to some resources, and I'd, you know, spend some time looking up things. And this was before the internet days. So, um, we had the internet, but it wasn't nearly as good as it is nowadays. But as far as experts, I happen to know somebody who was married to a rocket scientist, so I ran some of my theories by him, and he said that they sounded pretty good, actually, which shocked me. Um, but I haven't known that many experts that I could talk to about things. So mostly one time I wanted to know about bumblebees, and so I called up the local university and I said, I called the biological sciences department, and I said, "Do you know of an expert on honeybees or no, bumblebees?" And he pointed me to an expert. Another time I wanted to know about snakes that looked like rattlesnakes, and so I found somebody who was researching them. So you never know. Definitely colleges and universities are good places to start, because if somebody is studying a subject, they will talk to you all day. So, my sister has friends in every police department. She knows people at the FBI. She has asked questions of all sorts of people because she was a newspaper reporter. So she met these people in the course of writing news articles. So, but she's always adding sources, even now that she hasn't worked in a newspaper office for years. So definitely anybody that you might see an article about, you might send them an email and say, I read the article about you and you were talking about this. Could you tell me a little more about it? And just see, what response you get. Sometimes you get good ones and sometimes they don't answer you. So, definitely it's, sometimes I don't even tell them that it's for a story. I just ask because I'm curious. Um, so there's that too. I used to be very, very secretive about my writing. I never told my coworkers that I was writing at night. Sometimes I'd write all night and I'd come in the next morning and I never mentioned that I was staying up all night because I needed to get this scene written before I forgot it. And that's another thing when you are a writer and you've got a scene in your head and you've got to write it down before you forget it. Um, you've got to train everybody around you that, all right, if I'm writing a scene, if I have to reconstruct this scene, it's not going to be as good as it is the first time when I am trying to write it down before I forget it. So, let me finish this before you ask me to put my mind someplace else. Uh, I am still an introvert, even though people say, "Oh, but you talk to people so easily. How could you be an introvert?" But I really am an introvert as far as I tend to keep to myself. I tend not to talk to people every day. So, um, you know, it's normal to not want to share what you're writing about. My sister has never let me read one of her romances. Now, she did let me read her science fiction, and actually at 11, I was proofreading it for her. But, she was not as close to the science fiction as she was the romance. She was really intimidated by me, you know. She didn't want me to read it. So, you know, you can be a good writer without sharing what you write. All you need to do is do watch the grammar. Now, if you're writing in vernacular, if you're writing dialogue, you're not going to have correct English. You're going to write in the accent the person that's the character speaks. So you're going to have incorrect grammar. You're going to have stuff like that. But anything that's outside of the quotes needs to be correct English. It needs to be formatted correctly. It needs, the word spelled correctly. So, um, you want to be careful about that. So, if you brush up on your grammar, and really when you're proofreading, you've got to look at every word and say, okay, is this spelled correctly? Because sometimes the spell checker will will think it's another word and let it go by. So you can't depend on the spell checker. You've really got to have the spelling and grammar skills. But you want to not be so intimidated by that. So on one hand, you have to be really well versed with the grammar and the spelling, and on the other hand, you have to be consistent with your grammar mistakes and your misspellings so that the person stays in character. You don't want to have them saying a word in a misspelled kind of way once, and then the next time you come to that word, you've got it correct. You want to be consistent with the character. So there's that too. But And the other thing is, do you write in first person, which is, I did this, I saw this, or do you write in third person, which is, she got into the car and it was dark and, you know, the third person thing, you can kind of be the narrator can be everywhere and can be watching other people, and so they can be commenting on other characters. You can't say anything that the character would not know, but you can, it gives you a little more flexibility. But I like first person. I like to be in the driver's seat. I like to be talking about what the character is thinking. And I just put up with not being able to hover over other characters and know what they're thinking. So there's that too. And neither one is better than the other. I think you tend to see more first person nowadays than when I first started writing in the um 70s. So writing has changed. But there's nothing wrong with any format. There have been popular books that were emails that people were sending to each other, and they have become popular. So, there's no right or wrong way to do that. It's just what serves your purpose more. If you're more comfortable with one or the other, then write in that person, and you might change it for different, a short story versus a novel. Is but the most important thing is to write. Because if you've got that fire inside of you, that you've got stories inside of you that you are dying to tell, then you need to spend at least 15 minutes a day writing them down. And don't be so caught up in, oh, this is a mess, I'll never get this. You can put yourself down in 1,000. Oh, bless your heart. Well, the most important thing I want to talk about is when you have written something and you're going back and rereading it, don't be so hard on yourself. Because a lot of people start to write and they see what they've written, they know it's not Hemingway or somebody great that they admire, and they just quit. They say, "Well, I can't do this." Don't be that person, because the you need not to be a perfectionist, because it will drive you insane. Absolutely. I used to be such a perfectionist. And the thing is, you're human. So you have to allow yourself the right to make mistakes. It is a lot better to write 50 pages that are full of mistakes, grammatical errors, and all of that, than it is to sit staring at a page for 5 hours and be afraid to put a sentence on it. That is the danger of perfectionism. You will never write because you will be so paralyzed by the fear of writing it wrong that you will never write anything. So don't be a perfectionist when it comes to writing. Write it, and you can get mad at it, wad it up, and throw it. Well, I'm thinking typewriters now. We don't do that anymore. But, you know, um, don't write a whole big file and then delete the file. Save it, because you might be able to use it someday. Another thing that I got hung up on was I never wanted to delete anything. Usually when you edit, you might cut a whole scene because it just doesn't belong in this story. It might go in another one, though. So when I cut, I usually make another file with it, and I just put it away someplace. And what's funny is there was a story I wrote as a teenager for a school thing, that was fiction, and I ended up typing up all my old stories, and I had this one file that was all my old stuff, and I thought I would never use that. It was so bad. And amazingly enough, in one of my later works, I went back to that file, and there was a scene where there were these plants that had these flowers that were like bubbles. They looked like pink and blue balloons. And I actually used that scene almost verbatim. So never ever delete your files. Always keep them, because you never know when you might want an idea that you came up with. It may not be written the way you want it to be written, but it's nice to have those ideas. So, especially if you design a character and you decide, oh, I don't want her to have blue eyes. I want her to have brown eyes. I don't want her to be a blonde. She's got to have black raven hair. You know, that's fine. Save that character that you created and just start all over with this one. And you might use that other character sometime. Everything you write is possible fodder for the future. And also, it's kind of nice to look back. I have over 600 stories and books on my hard drive, and I've only got 54 of them on Amazon. So, I've got a lot of work to do. I don't know if I'll ever get around to it, but what's neat is you never know. If you've got the material, you can always look at it and say, well, I'm going to start a new story. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to start fresh, and I'm going to use some ideas from this. That's always a possibility. And the great thing about word processors, when I was writing everything out longhand and felt tip pen, if I wanted to change a paragraph here and put it earlier, it was just a lot of rewriting. And now it's so easy with the word processor. You just highlight that page and take it out and put it 10 pages earlier. So many things you can do so easily that used to be so laborious. The most important thing I can tell you tonight is never doubt your talent. If you want to write at all, you've got talent. You just need to work on it, make it better, and remember that Mozart, as wonderful a composer as he was still learning about the piano when he died. Think about that. All the body of work that he wrote. And he said he was still learning shortly before he died. So, writing is one of those things, it's a journey of discovery. You never reach the end of it, and it's hard to know where you are in the process. And without having somebody read your work, you really don't know. And even if they read your stuff, one person will say one thing and one person will say another, and it's all well and good, but it's not going to be very useful information. Writing is a solitary activity. You go to your blank page and you put something on it, and you hope to say something great and lofty, and it's never like that. You write down something and then you read it, and it's like, well, this isn't very exciting. What can I do? I can throw something else in. No problem. Come back again, and if you have questions, I'll try to answer them. And just write. I hope so too. But let your talent have its outlet, because it's a wonderful thing. The writing life is one of my favorite parts of my life. You stay safe too. thank you for visiting me tonight. Take care. Okay, so we talked about a lot of stuff tonight. That was fun. So, yeah, I'm gonna look at my viewers list now and see. Oh, Academy Impossible, IF, and Nisa Hay is going home. So wonderful. I am very happy that all of you were here tonight, and we will get together tomorrow night and talk about some other stuff. So until then, don't let the disabilities get you down, and have a great evening. And if you feel like writing, even if you don't want to publish stories or books, writing is a great way to get your feelings out and to kind of deal with the loneliness, because disabilities, a lot of times we have our loneliness we have to deal with. So it's a good thing that you can always write down your feelings. And if you don't like writing, then start slow, maybe have yourself a file, put the date on it, and put one thing on it that you want to talk about. And maybe you'll need a couple of sentences to express what you're trying to say. And then the next night, take a minute to add to that file and just write something that you were thinking about, or something that you might want your children or grandchildren to know someday. Or just write to your future self and say, here's how I am now. I'm so and so years old, and I feel that the world is mostly a good place, or you feel like the world is mostly a terrible place. Whatever you feel like, write that down. Be genuine. And who knows? You may write 2 sentences today, you might write 3 tomorrow, and 4 the next, and on and on. But the best thing about writing is you have complete control over what you put down. It's not like papers in school where you have to come up with a cohesive thing that you're trying to convince somebody of something, and you're presenting your arguments and you're presenting your conclusion. That kind of writing, I can do it, but that's not my favorite kind of writing. My favorite kind of writing is Chandra came home from work and she slammed the keys on the table. "Oh, I want to quit that job so bad," she said. She limped to the kitchen table and took her knee brace off and rubbed where it was bruising her. "Nobody understands that I can't walk so much. Everybody wants me to go get this or go get that, and I'm so sick of this." That would be a story start for sure. So I'd much rather write something like that than, "My subject for the evening is so and so." If it's about disabilities, I enjoy that. But if I had a topic given to me, um, "Why is spinach better than onions?" And it's like, I could care less. I like onions cooked. I love spinach, raw, cooked, whatever. But having to compare them when I'm not really interested in that, no wonder we don't like writing papers in school, right? Even when we get to pick the topic, we know that we're going to be graded on this paper. And so there's that pressure I made B's and C's on my papers in college. I will admit it to you. I never made a single A on any paper that I did. And it wasn't for lack of trying, it was just, it's not as easy to write about something that you're not as interested in. Even when I was very interested in the subject, we had to pick a controversial topic in biology, I remember, and I wrote about cloning. And a lot of people say about cloning, oh, it's evil, it's terrible. But actually, twins are clones of each other, identical twins, identical triplets. So you can't say clones are bad because it happens in nature. But the fact that you could clone a human being, um, there are a lot of ethical things about that, and I explored them. And I still have hope for the future that someday we probably will want to clone people if they have special talents. And I don't think there would be anything wrong with that as long as we're not expecting the person cloned to be an exact duplicate of the person that they are supposed to be um, adding back to the world. But all of that aside, it's a lot more fun to write your own fiction or about a nonfiction subject that you love. It's a lot more fun to write that for yourself than it is to write it in class. And so, those of you who hated writing in school, don't think just because you hated it in school that you might not love writing for yourself. So, I encourage all of you to try writing, see if you like it. And if you don't like it, then that's okay. At least you tried, right? So, the danger of when you write, criticize it so much while it's still here before it gets here, before you write it on the page. You don't want to stop it before it's even a sentence. Be kind to yourself. That's my message for tonight. Be kind to yourself and try to do something to help the relationships you have with people tonight. And that's the main message of this topic about either relationships and disability, or dating and disability, or simply your relationship with your mother, your father, your daughter, your son, your nephew, your cousins, your sisters and brothers. You only get one family, right? So reach out to your family. Tell them what's good about them and why you really want to keep in touch with them. You know, and just because you had some bad experiences with some members of the family might not mean that you might not be very close to somebody who's a more distant relative. You never know until you try. So, this is Granny Handicap. I hope you enjoyed your visit to my house, and I hope you will come back and we can talk about more important things. So, in the meantime, good night. Hope you have a good evening. And I'm going to put my little goodbye scene up. Farewell for now. Good night.